Hello there, and welcome to another video. So here, I'll try to go in chronological order of what progress I did, and one of the first was changing the icon of the server, and I noticed that I committed a similar mistake because the bunny is very small, like you can't properly see it unless you widen up or zoom in the image. And also my own image because it seemed just like a blue circle and well wasn't very interesting. Not that it is now, but surely better. Well, mm, and about the I noticed that I needed first to set the enemy to have a sort of vision, a field of view, because if he walks in the map for a reason, he has a reason to walk in the map, right? He's not aimlessly walking or patrolling. So even if the AI needs to look like it's not doing nothing specific, like chasing the player, it's useful for it to know where the player is in order to make the experience better. Because if he knows where the player is, then I can command it to close in the distance or further the distance between them. My first idea was a very complicated one. Unfortunately, my brother gave me a better idea, so I'll start explaining my bad idea. I had here, like, I made um, an FLV, but you can see it because as the yellow warning shows, it's empty. But I programmed it to exist with this array of vectors. But the thing is, it was a very sharp, like a very squared field of view. It was not a conic section, a beautiful conic section. It was very blocky. And so I started with an idea of dividing the angle of the field of view, which was 120 degrees, into an dividable section that I could smoothen up the surface or the curvature of the field of view with a mathematical formula. So what I try to do here is to divide the angle 120 into n parts that I desired, and then the higher the n value, the smoother would be the curve of the conic field of view. However, it stuck with my head for too long, and I was very slow to sort of solve it. I'm sorry. Here is a very rough sketch in Portuguese on top of it, and I try to find the angle or the x and y coordinates of these line here. Let me change here. Uh, yeah, and based on the total length of the vector, which will be the view distance, in this case 500 pixels. But then it started to seem too complicated, although the application is quite easy, but my unfamiliarity with the Godot engine made me very frustrated to progress this idea, or at least the mathematical notion was quite simple. But then he suggested me to do the following, which to have a vector that is coming out of the front of the enemy. So in this case, here, like this green axis, and with this green axis will be the front of it, and it will never change. Like it will always demark the front face of the enemy, but this red one would change because it would always point to the player. And the thing is, I could do the field of view be simply Since it's 60 degrees to each side, summing up to 120, as long as the angle here is equal or below 60 degrees, it will means that the player is within the field of view. And to make the it fair so that it doesn't seem in an infinite distance, I could also calculate the length of this red vector to be equal or less to 500. So the angle would measure, well, the angle of the field of view, and the length would limit one represent the maximum distance that the creature can see. And well, I will need to apply this because in paper it is beautiful, but I need to, translate it to the engine. And well, that's pretty much it. And after I do this, I will have to test how to make the creature navigate a scenario, because I never thought to think of how to make something like a creature or something round or rectangle like walk in this map, for example, without having much problem, like how to account for walls, for thin or wide corridors, and etc. And also to not seem too lame or like awkwardly unnatural, so that the player wouldn't feel frightened or threatened by it. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you liked it, and I'm going to link the Discord server for the in case you want to talk with me or just be up to date for the releases here in the description. And I hope that next Saturday I'll come with at least a few of you working, which should be just some vector boogaloo. But then the moving through the map is another story. So I need to make sure that the enemy can reach the player at least in all of those rooms here. This one on top, top left, left, below, blah blah blah. Well, I'm delaying the goodbye. Bye bye.